I think of Australian bush huts, I always think of huts in the Victorian High Country, with good reason I suppose, because, well, they've got some of the most iconic huts in Australia in my opinion. But it's a little known fact that in the southwest of Western Australia, where I am right now, we've actually got dozens and dozens of absolutely cracking bush huts that not many people know about. And a lot of them go back a very long way, right back into the 1920s, 1930s for some of them, 60s for others. And they've all come about due to livestock down here, cattle grazing through the bush, like the Victorian High Country. Unlike the Victorian High Country, there's fishing huts down on the coast. Now, I've got a couple of days off. I'm going to head down to a couple of locations down here that are really special to me. One place is called Fish Creek, a lot of WA people will know about that. And another spot is really special to me because it's where a story started 27 years ago. Now, had I not been a part of the story, had I not been the main figure in the story, I would never have believed it possible that what happened did happen. I'm going to take you down to where it all started and then I'll tell you the story, because to me, I reckon it's absolutely bloody fascinating. But for now, I've got 142 kilometres of blacktop to crank out. So I'm going to get it done, then I'm going to lock the hubs, take you into one of my favourite corners of southwest Western Australia, and show you a few bush huts that I bet you've never seen before. Now, from this southern section down here around Fish Creek, I'm then going to track back up north, past the hut itself, around to Moore's hut, have a quick look in there, and then down onto Cootamara Beach. Now, there's a track that you can't see that actually links back up here and goes north all the way back up to take me around to the mouth of the Gardner River. All up, there's a dozen different ways that you could access this part of the country, and you could spend far more than 2 days. But that's all I've got. That's a good sign. That's a really good sign. Time just to remind you all that this is yet again another completely solo effort. There's no cameraman out there, there's just me, a tripod, my camera, self-timer, and that there, a GoPro, sitting on the windscreen. There's no scripts, no producers, no lines. There's no real reason to do it either, other than because I'm enjoying it and I like showing you parts of Australia. So it's just me having a crack. If the filming sucks or you're bored, push the red button, move on to the next one. There's billions of them to watch out there, but this is my little corner and I'm having fun making it. All through this southern WA section, all these forests through here, you'll see these signs. Everywhere you go, they'll be every few kilometres. On every single road, every single gravel road you do out here, you'll see these water signs, and it's pointing often to a bend in a river, or in this case, to a man-made pool. And they're all here so that the firefighters through here, should there be a fire, and they're using this as an access road, can refuel their fire trucks. I'll give you a look at this one over here because it's a bit of a doozy. This one here is obviously man-made. It's an absolute doozy. I'll give you a look at it. Sorry about the shaky camera work. There you go. Quite a beauty, this one. You can see the logs out here just to keep the erosion down. Now, I'll give you a tip. I don't even know if I should be saying this or even if it's legal, but a lot of these waterways like this hold yabbies. Something to remember. I'm not saying you should fish for them. I'm not saying you should fish for them. I'm just saying that a lot of them do hold yabbies. Good sized yabbies, really tasty yabbies. In case you're wondering, that word is pronounced D'Entrecasteaux National Park. It actually stretches for about 130 kilometres down the coast. It's a very thin national park, but it runs north to south or south to north, depending on which way you're going, along the coast. And it's one of the most diverse and untouched regions in the whole of the southwest of Western Australia. Not the most, but certainly because of the farming through here is why I say that. But certainly in the sections of National Park where we're in right now, in the guts of it, absolutely pristine and beautiful. We've just momentarily popped out of the National Park here and we're coming through on either side cleared farmland. Bit of a story behind the farmland out here. A lot of these farms originated right back in the 1920s and 30s, and they came about more or less, kind of, sort of, because of government initiative to help out soldiers who'd just come back from the atrocities of World War I. However, as good as it was that the government gave the soldiers these tracts of land, they didn't really think about it, because a lot of these parcels of land that were given to the soldiers on returning weren't terribly farmable. If you have a look at some of the land they gave them up in the wheat belt, arid country, and back in the day the farming techniques were terrible, and so it was really hard for them to make a go of it. Of course, down here they were just given virgin bush and said, clear it, go for it. It would have taken a small army to clear some of this land down here. So some of those poor buggers just got back from the war. They thought they were being done a favour. Didn't really work out that way. The government had another shot at it after World War II. Again, varying success, but here's a big tract of land right through here now. But what it did do, the lasting legacy of that government initiative way back in the 1920s, 1930s, oh, the corrugations. What that did do was put in place what is today a very well thriving dairy industry in the southwest. And some of these cleared areas, maybe even this one right here, owes itself right back to that 1920 initiative by the WA government. And those cows right there, they know a good four-wheel drive when they see it. Ladies! Alright, this is where I generally let my tyres down, at the junction here, because that's just high-speed gravel down there. Down this way, we're heading towards Fish Creek Hut, and I'm going to go a bit further down onto the coast, hopefully. The track in is pretty good. We've had a lot of rain lately, so I don't think it's going to be too boggy at all until you get right down further towards the coast. But still, for those that are wanting to know, this is where I lock my hubs in, and I drop down to about 18 psi. Short wheelbase patrols, short wheelbase anything I think, are a real acquired taste. Because you don't seem to fit into the tracks made by other vehicles, because predominantly they're all long wheelbase, you constantly find yourself toing and froing and bouncing around no matter what speed you do. It's kind of like being in a boat. I remember the first time I came into Fish Creek many years ago. If memory serves correct, I was in a short wheelbase MQ patrol from memory, sitting in the back seat. Oh, I remember getting so car sick because it was like being in a bloody boat. I had to get out every now and again and just get some air. I was only about that big at the time. A bit bigger than that maybe. But I tell you what, they ain't lost much. They really are. And enthusiasts four-wheel drive. I love the old girl though. Wouldn't swap her for anything. It's got a little river crossing here. It's a little swampy thing. It's always got a good base on it. I'll go in slow, come out hot I think. Yeah, no, that's all good. Too good, in fact. Even got to wash my windscreen. I love this truck. This right here is conveyor belt matting. You see it all over some of the, well, more prone to erosion sections of hills all through Dontracastot National Park and other parts of Western Australia as well. And there's two schools of thought about this. Some people don't like it because they reckon it detracts from, geez, quite a steep little section this. They reckon it detracts from the challenge of getting into these places. Now, I don't really subscribe, whoa, sleep on the other side. I don't really subscribe to that theory because I'm not here really for the challenge of four-wheel driving. Some parts are fun to drive, but I'm not here to get up gnarly tracks. I'm here to go camping, here to go fishing and to enjoy the coastline. So for me, if it keeps these tracks open, heck, put conveyor belt matting down. It's usually done with the local four-wheel drive clubs. Good job if you ask me. Another bit here actually. This little valley we're coming into down through here, I call it Kangaroo Valley. It's absolutely chock-a-block with kangaroos. Probably make a liar of me today, there won't be any in there, but I've come through here on previous occasions and there must be something in here they like, protection from the wind and stuff to eat, I don't know, but literally there's been hundreds of them through here. You look at the size of these sand dunes, you wonder how they get in and out. Can they hop up a sand dune? I suppose they can. They're kangaroos, they can do whatever they want. Here she is, Fish Creek Hut. Hasn't changed a bit. The old pine tree's still standing. How cool is this? I gotta get out and have a look. Many memories here, many memories. See this old cupboard here? It's got fond memories. I was down here with a bunch of adults, my uncle, my dad, a couple other blokes, and I was about yay high, having the time of my life. I had the air rifle with me, I was shooting rabbits outside. Actually, mentioning that, I never hit a rabbit. I reckon that air rifle must have been way off. Couldn't have been me. Anyway, I came in here day one, looking around the hut, really curious, opening up things, and I opened up this very drawer right here, probably 25 years ago. That very drawer. And inside that drawer was an old Playboy magazine. I tell you what, that trip away put ideas in my head that I couldn't get rid of. Some bugger's taken it. That sucks. So this spectacular bit of real estate right here, of course, is the Fish Creek Hut Cliffs. Now, back in the day, just over here somewhere, I can't picture it now, but there used to be a ladder that came all the way down off these cliffs here. I don't know the full story, but some time ago, someone fell off the ladder, hurt themselves. So the government took the ladder away. They said it's too dangerous. Now, people try and get down the cliffs any way they possibly can. You tell me what's more dangerous, using a ladder or just climbing down the cliff edge? Way back in the day, if I remember correctly, I've got a photo somewhere, I'll try and dig it up. I swear I saw an old Toyota Ute being used down on that beach over there. How they got it down there is beyond me. I have no idea how it got down there, but I do know for a fact people used to winch their boats up and down these cliffs using the ladder as a guide rail. Can't imagine winching a Ute up these cliffs, no way. Right time of year, the fishing down here is superb. The annual salmon run, which is a West Australian thing, plenty down there. You get heaps of abalone off these rocks down here. Big groper in the holes, tailor, skippy. The fishing here at the right time of year is off tap. There she is. I thought I might have got a bit further today, but due to a late start this morning, I haven't got as far as I'd liked. I wanted to head more down towards Cootamara Beach today, but doesn't matter, because I've got Old Faithful here now. This campsite isn't much to look at, but there's a reason I like camping right here. In fact, I know exactly where to put Shorty. Right there. There's a reason I like camping here. And I'll show you it tomorrow morning, because right now, I'm going to set up, crack a beer. It's been a fantastic day. Well, it's the most important part of the day taken care of. I slept like a log last night, the sound of the waves. Woke up this morning with the sun blaring in, straight through. Doots, nailed me. Not a bad way to wake up though. Alright, let me go and show you why I like this particular campsite. Come for a walk. That right there, of course, it's the Southern Ocean, because I'm on the south coast of Western Australia right now, so the horizon out there is not west, it's actually almost due south. That spectacular view, 180 degrees of it, is all yours for an astounding price of $0. Starting to see why I love this stretch of coast. Usual morning checks. Our girl does use just a little bit of oil, so I just like to check every morning and make sure everything's all right. Oil, water, fluid levels, make sure I've still got an engine. Check, got that. All right, let's see if the old girl will start. Alrighty, back in the saddle. The plan for today is actually to go back pretty much past Fish Creek Hut again, down past West Cliff Beach. I'm going to zoom along the beach for not long, a couple of 100 metres. Then I'm going to track almost directly north, back up to the main road and head to Moore's Hut. I've not seen Moore's Hut since the bushfires went through. The last time I was there she was burnt out, wasn't much left of it. Apparently though, it's been redone. It's great to see these huts being looked after. Fish Creek is a classic example. I think it's been around since the 50s or 60s. And I mean, look at it. It's got a little bit of graffiti on it, but for the most part, it's in perfect condition for an old bush hut. And that's great to see. Bit sad they've taken the ladder away. That's a part of the culture down there. I really believe they should have left the ladder in place. Anywho, they haven't. So it's good to know someone's looking after Moore's Hut as well. So we've got, not far to go, about half an hour's drive. We'll check out Moore's Hut. And the weather! How's the weather? Sensational! Struth. Have a look at this for erosion. Oh my goodness. I think I'm about to go underground here. Have a look at that. That's some savage erosion. Alright, just around this corner, we should be Moore's Hut. What the heck? That is not what I remember. Wow, they said it had been done up, but I didn't expect that. I'm in shock, that's not what I remember at all. Oh, let's go and have a closer look. Well, I'm guessing that there is the original timbers in the roof, but that's about the only thing that's original in here. She's totally changed since the last time I saw the old place. course, there was a fire that came through Moore's Hut during the Northcliffe fires a few years back, and the locals almost say it was a bit of a blessing in disguise that it got burnt down, because it's been rebuilt and it's been done really, really well. I've not seen it like this, and I'm most impressed. It's lost a bit of its character, of course, but the history's still there. Believe it or not, this hut was built around 1910. 1910, so it's been around for a bloody long time, and it looks, for all intents and purposes now, like it's going to stay around, and that's pretty cool. Well, I got to tell you, that's not how I remember Moore's Hut. That's a lot flashier than I remember it. Still, they've done a really good job, and that'll be there now for a long time to come. And it's amazing to think that it's been in existence since 1910. It was actually built by the Brockman family, and it was a summer hut for when they drove cattle down through here. Now, my mind boggles at the concept of driving cattle through this bush. How the hell did they do it? It's just phenomenal. And they used to do it for several years and for a long distance from Bunbury right the way down the coast and then back again during the winter. I just don't know how they did it. Now, the original hut, pretty cool. The original hut had all sorts of wood, local wood from around the area. Some of the oak floor, which is no longer there, it's probably been pilfered a long time ago, was actually from shipwrecks off the coast. So the hut itself has got a real niche little part of Australia, West Australia's history, deep inside it. From 1910 to 2017, good on it. I hope it sticks around for a bloody long time to come. This is the upper reaches of the Gardner River. We're going to be following this. This river goes all the way down to the coast, and that's where I'm going to ultimately end up at the end of today. I just thought I'd stop and show you something, because a lot of the rivers in Western Australia, southwest Western Australia, are black in colour. They're not a clear running water. And the reason for it is all the tea trees that line the bank. Now, these tea trees have got tannin in their bark and in their root system that leaches into the soil, and as the river flows through, it picks up that tannin being the same sort of stuff that's in tea, hence tea trees. There's so much of it out here that it actually leaches into the water and causes it to go a black colour. This is a classic example of it. I can't even see more than about 30 centimetres into there, but perfectly healthy waterway. There's trout, there's all manner of bits and pieces in there, heaps of marron. It's a good, thriving ecosystem, but the reason for it being black is the tannins, tea trees. All right, I've got to get across this river and keep going. Righto, the plan from here is I'm going to take an inland track now and skirt my way around to the mouth of the Gardner River. Bit of a drive ahead of me. Beautiful drive though. Look at the wetland in here. We've had been a late winter down here, but geez, there's still a lot of water around. So I'm going to skirt around to the mouth of the Gardner River. The track I'm going to take in there, and I want to start a bit of a tale when I get to that track. And that's what I said at the beginning. It all started about 27 years ago on that track. So when I get there, I'll show you that. But for now, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this drive through some very familiar country. All right, this is the track I've been telling you about. The track that leads out to the mouth of the Gardner River. This is the inland track. You can actually take the beach the whole way, but if conditions don't allow, this is the more popular method of getting out here, and it's just as boggy, just as bouncy as I remembered. Now, I gave you the figure of 27 years ago. I actually did some sums in my head as I was driving along. It was closer to 30 years ago that this happened. You see, Dad and I, my old man and I, God, it's boggy through here, had been camping at the mouth of the Gardner River. Not staying in the huts, just camping down there. It was time to go home, and I was helping the old man pack the 4B. And I distinctly remember, even to this day, Dad saying to me, make sure you close the back of the 4-wheel drive so nothing falls out on the way out. Of course, I thought I knew it all. I said, yeah, sure I will, Dad. I didn't close the back of the 4B, and a bunch of stuff fell out on the way back, including my old man's camera bag. Inside it was his camera, a couple of lenses, flash unit, filters, whole shebang, gone. Of course, we didn't realise that until we'd driven about 4 hours home. Well, it was gone. Not much we could do about it. There was no point in coming back. It was a busy weekend. Who knows? It was gone. We just hoped that maybe someone would find it and hand it in. As the weeks and months went by, no one handed it in, and she was lost, gone. Didn't I know about it? I tell you what, I got a right talking to. It happened right here on this track, I reckon over 30 years ago. Now, fast forward about 28 years. I was down here writing an article for 4-Wheel Drive Action magazine. I know what you're thinking. I was on this track and I found the camera bag. No, I didn't. I wrote an article about this place, and in the article I just happened to mention the fact that I was driving down here when we were younger with the old man and the camera bag fell out. That's all I said. I submitted the article, and sure enough it got published, as these things do. That's cool. About 2 days after a bit in the news agents, I got an email from our producer, and she said, "Graham, someone's found your old man's camera bag. They want to give it back to you." I said, "Nah, there's no way. It's been 30 years. There's absolutely no way it could be my old man's camera bag." She agreed. She gave me this guy's email address anyway, and I sent him an email and said, "Hey, listen, thanks, mate. You've obviously found someone's camera, but it was 30 odd years ago. Couldn't be my old man's. And besides, you live in Queensland." I saw he was from Queensland. "This is in southwest WA. I forgot about it." He emailed me back and he said, "No worries, mate. It just sounded like it could have been yours because I found it on the track going in to the Gardner River huts, and the blue bag was in perfect condition." I hadn't mentioned a blue bag. Not in the article, not in my email. Bam! He's on the right track, right time frame, and he said a blue bag. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I emailed him back. I said, "Mate, blue bag, send me a photo." He sent me a photo. He had my old man's camera. Unbelievable. 30 years later, I'd hooked up with the bloke that had driven the track and had found my old man's camera. Woo! That's a big kangaroo. Scared the crud out of me. When we get down to the huts down here, I'll tell you the rest of the story. This is the mouth of the Gardner River. You can just make out the huts back there. Now, back in the day, they were really charismatic old bush huts made of timber and iron and bits of wire. I did catch wind of a rumour going around that they'd increased the lease down there because it's one of those leasehold places. And it must have meant that they've now got another 99 years or something, so they've totally revamped them. They're nothing like they once were. There's a big old gate in front, so you got to walk in. And they're like houses now, they're nothing like huts, which is a bit disappointing, but the mouth of the Gardner is still as beautiful than ever, and I think you can still see and appreciate just how cool that location is for a hut. You can imagine that back in the day. Big fire going in there on a winter's day, and the outlook from there overlooking the mouth of the Gardner River. One of my favourite parts of the world. Now, there is an original hut in here. It's just about to rain. I reckon we'll go in there, and I'll finish the rest of my story. Well, in the southwest, it's not a matter of if it's going to rain, but when it's going to rain. I'll happily take shelter underneath this old hut here. Let me finish the rest of my story off. About 2 weeks after I got that email, I went down to the post office to pick up my mail. And at the post office was a big box waiting for me. I'd kind of forgotten about the camera. I opened up the box. Sitting inside the box was my old man's blue camera bag. And inside that, as if it was in a time capsule, was my old man's camera and all the gear, along with a note. It was written by a bloke by the name of Ian Jury. Now, Ian had been working down here at the time and had come in on a bit of a boys' weekend fishing trip. They'd nearly run over the bag. It was on the middle of the road. Of course, they picked it up, and for reasons Ian can't even understand himself, he just hung on to it. He never really even looked inside the bag. He just hung on to it for over 30 years, moving right across Australia to live in Queensland and various other jobs. His kids had had a bit of a go at it, tried to get the film out, so the film wasn't there, but everything else was exactly as it was the day I didn't close the back of the old man's four-wheel drive and she fell out. Can you believe that? 30 years later, I wrote an article, someone read it, they had the camera, they'd held onto it, it was in perfect condition, and they posted it back to me. So I was able to give it back to the old man, and he's had to stop giving me shit ever since. I reckon that story is absolutely bloody amazing. Well, there's a brief respite from the rain, but the reports are that it's going to come in hard and heavy tonight, and I'd expect it to do so. So I reckon I got nowhere I need to be. There's no one at the campground. I've got the whole place to myself. I think I might set up for one more night. I've even got a piece of steak in there, chuck her on the barbie, and just suck the guts out of life. I hope you guys are doing the same. Catch us next time, mate. It's so much easier just to get a bloody camera crew. Oh, screw CrossFit. Film yourself.